Hi guys, मेरा नाम नारायण है and I welcome all of you viewers in this video. And guys, in this video I just tried to collect some around 110 questions which are very important from the point of view of examination 070640, which is Windows Server 2008 Active Directory configuring. So if you go through all the questions, definitely it's gonna be helpful for you guys. I hope it may help you. So I will be talking about all the questions one by one with explanation also I have taken to make it easy to understand. So guys, if you find this video informative for you, please don't forget to subscribe my channel, comment on this video, and like this video and share this video. So guys, like this, I have I have collected questions, then their objective answers and objectives and then answer and then explanation how this answer should be you know then so guys let me begin with very first question. So in this uh, see, the situation is guys here now. First question, first of all you should be able to understand the scenario, then only it will be easy and it may become easy for you guys to understand and select the right questions. So the first question is guys, India.com has Active Directory folders that contain a single domain named ad.india.com. Okay, so next thing in this, all domain controllers are configured as DNS server and have Windows Server 2008 installed. The network has two Active Directory integrated zones, India es.com and India ws.com. Okay, now we have two zones here integrated. The company is instructed you to make sure that user is able to modify records in indiaes.com while preventing the user to modify the SOA record in India WS.com zone. So we have two zone here. First one is India ES East.com or India West.com. So we have to ensure that es.com India es.com user should be able to modify the records, while we have to prevent to uh, we need to prevent the India ws.com to modify SOA records in this zone basically. So guys, what should you do to achieve this? The situation is modify the permission of India es.com zone by accessing the DNS manager console. First, second one is configure the user permission on the India es.com to include all the users and configure the user permission on India ws.com to allow only the administrator group to modify the records. Or third one is modify the permission of India AWS.com zone by accessing the DNS console manager. Next option is modify the domain controller organizational unit by accessing the Active Directory users and computers. None of all the above. So what should you do? Now answer, what should be the answer? So guys, your answer should be modify the permission of India ES.com zone by accessing the DNS manager console. Okay, so this will be your answer. Now why this should be the answer? India to allow users to modify records in indiaes.com and prevent him her to modify the SOA records in India ws.zone. You should set the permission of indiaes.com through DNS manager console. You set the permission for the users to modify the records in indiaes.com. Since settings permission on one Active Directory integrated zone, you will be preventing the user to modify anything else on other zones. So this is how we should be able to identify and what should be the answer for this question. So guys, next question is India.com has Active Directory domain controller. Okay, one Active Directory domain controller. All domain controllers are configured as DNS server. Okay, the rest of domain controllers are DNS server and Windows 2008 installed. Only one Active Directory integrated zone, DNS zone, is configured on the domain. So we have one integrated DNS zone. you have to make ensure that outdated DNS record are removed from DNS zone automatically. What should you do to achieve this task? So you have to remove unwanted records. So what we should do, modify the TTL of SOA records by accessing the zone property, or disable update from zone property, execute net sh reset DNS command from the command prompt, or enable scavenging by accessing the zone property. None of these. So answer should be this one, guys. Enable scavenging and enable scavenging by accessing the zone property, because it will remove all the unwanted records from the DNS. And edging is one more thing that will identify the unwanted records in the domain. So we have to select this option in this question. So if you read explanation why it is to remove the outdated DNS record from the DNS zone automatically, you should enable scavenging through DNS zone property. The zone property scavenging will help you to clean up old unused records in DNS. Since cleanup really means delete stuff, a good understanding of what are doing and healthy respect of detecting. So guys, you do not need to read this much and understand the main function of scavenging is to just delete unwanted records from the DNS zone. Guys, next question. This is the explanation again here. Next question. Uh, India.com has single active directory domain. Okay, you have configured all domain controller in the network as DNS server and they run Windows Server 2008. A domain controller named CK1 has standard primary zone. Okay, for India.com, and a domain controller named CK2 has a standard primary zone for India.com. This is a standard secondary zone for on this CK, and the primary zone on CK1, and on CK2 we have standard secondary zone for India.com. You have to make sure that the replication of India.com zone is encrypted, so you might not lose any zone data. What should you do to achieve this? What should be the answer? Create a stub zone and delete the secondary zone? No, this should not be. Convert the primary zone into active directory zone and delete the secondary zone? No, this is, yes, this should be the answer. Because why? You should read all those things. Change the interface where DNS server listen on both server and on the standard primary zone. Configure zone transfer setting. After that, modify the master service list on the secondary zone. So this will not work, and this is just none of these. If you convert, guys, here, convert the primary zone into active directory zone and delete the secondary zone. Why? To make sure that the replication of the India.com zone is encrypted to prevent data loss. You should convert the primary zone into an active directory zone and delete the secondary zone. So this should be the answer, second one. Next question, guys. India.com has a main office and branch office. So it has one main office and one branch office. All servers in both office run Windows Server 2008. The office are connected through MAN link. India.com has active directory domain that hosts a single domain called marks makes.india.com. This one. There is a domain controller in the marks.india.com called CK1. It is located in the main office. This one is at main office, this CK1. You have configured CK1 as DNS server for marks.india.com DNS zone. It is configured as a standard primary zone also. You are instructed to install new domain controller called CK2 in branch office. So we have to install one domain controller in CK2. After installing the domain controller, you install DNS on CK2. Yes, you want to ensure that DNS service on CK2 can update records and resolve DNS queries in event of man link failure. If your branch offices fail, then your second server should be able to resolve DNS queries. What should you do? First one is configured DNS on CK1 to forward queries request to CK2. No, add a secondary zone named rex.india.com on this should be mark, okay, india.com on CK2, or convert marks.india.com on CK1 to active directory integrated zone. So this should be your answer. And configure a new stuff zone on CK1 and set forwarding. No, this will not work. Only this should be the answer. If you want to this that is a reference. So guys, next question. India.com has a DNS server with 10 Active Directory integrated zones. For auditing purpose, you have to provide copies of zone file of the DNS server to security audit group. What should you do to achieve this? Next question, options we have here: execute NTDS util partition management display command. No, this will not work. Execute ipconfig register DNS command. This will not work. What we have to do for this? Execute DNS CMD zone export command. So it will help you to do this auditing work. And execute DNS CMD zone output command. This will not work. So answer should be D or C. Now next question, India.com has a domain controller named EDC11 that run Windows Server 2008. It is configured as a DNS server for India.com. Okay, you install DNS server role on a member server S1. Okay, after this you create a standard primary zone for India.com. You configured EDC11 as the master server for zone for the zone. What should you do to make sure that S1 receives zone update from main server? This is EDC11. So what we should do? On server 1, add a conditional forward? No. On DC, modify the zone transfer setting for the test.com. India.com. This is not test.com, it should be India.com. Okay, I made a mistake. And this is the answer. Add the server 1 computer account to DNS update proxy. This will not work. On DC1, modify the permission of test.com. So guys, this is not a test.com. It is just India.com. So now what we need to do? Next question we will move. 7th question. India.com has a network consisting of an Active Directory forest named ebd.com. Okay. All servers have 2008. All domain controllers are configured DNS server. The ebd.com DNS zone is stored in forest DNS zone Active Directory partition. A member server contains a standard primary DNS zone for eb.ebd.com. You need to make sure that all domain controller can resolve names for eb.ebd.com. What should you do to achieve this task? So guys, create a delegation in the ebd.com zone. Change the property of SOA records in the eb.ebd.com. Add NS record in the ebd.com zone, or create a secondary zone on a global catalog server. So create a delegation. Delegation will help to resolve this issue. Next question. India.com has main office and single branch office in another state. Okay, with single Active Directory domain forest. India.com has two domain controllers, CK1 and CK2. Both of the domain controllers running 2008. The branch office has read-only domain controller named CK3. So CK1, CK2 and CK3. While all domain controllers have DNS server role installed, they are configured as Active Directory integrated zone. All DNS zones are configured to allow secure updates only. You want to enable the dynamic updates on this read-only domain controller. What should you do to achieve this? So guys, on DC, create Active Directory partition and configure the partition to store Active Directory integrated zones. Uninstall Active Directory domain service on CK2 and reinstall it as a writable domain controller. Next thing, reconfigure RODC on CK3 to allow dynamic updates, or execute DNSCMD / zone reset type command on CK3. So all this option D, C and A will not work. Reason: to enable dynamic update on CK3, you should uninstall Active Directory domain controller on CK3 and reinstall it as writable domain controller. A writable domain controller perform originating updates and outbounded replications. So this should not be RODC. Next question, guys. India.com has a huge network that consists of an Active Directory forest containing a single domain. Okay. Windows Server 2008 is installed on all the domain controllers. They are configured as DNS server. India.com has Active Directory integrated zone with two Active Directory sites. So we have two Active Directory sites here, and each site contains 5 domain controllers. You added a new NS record to the zone. You have to make sure that all domain controllers immediately receive a new NS record. What should you do to achieve this? Execute repadmin slash sync call from the command prompt, or reload the zone from the DNS manager console, create a SOA records from the DNS manager console, or shut down and then restart DNS server service from services snap-in. So guys, you need to run this command: execute repadmin slash sync call from command prompts. Next question, question 10th. India.com has an Active Directory domain named like com.india.com. The domain contains two domain controllers, CK1 and CK2. Both have DNS role installed. You install a new DNS server name as ns.india.com on the uh, parameters network. You configure CK1 to forward all unresolved name requests to ns.india.com. Okay, from this server to this ns.india.com. But you discover that DNS forward option is unavailable on CK2. This one, you have to configure DNS forwarding on CK2 server to forward unresolved name requests to ns.india.com server. Which of the following two actions should you perform to achieve this? What will you do? Clean the DNS cache on CK2, or configure conditional forwarding on CK2 conditional forwarding. Okay. Third one is delete the zone root zone on CK2, or add zone forwarding CK2. So guys, here cleaning the DNS cache on server 2 or K2 will not work. We need to configure conditional forwarding, and second one is delete root zone on CK2. So A and C, this B and C should be your answer. Next question, India.com has a domain controller that runs Windows Server 2008. It is configured as DNS server. You have to record all inbound DNS queries to the server. What should you configure in the DNS server console? So first option you have like to log error and warning, configure event logins, disable automatic logs for recursive queries, and enable automatic testing for recursive queries, or enable debug logging. So guys, you should enable debug logging for this. Next question, it is like India.com has two Active Directory forest, okay, named India.com and Workbox.com. The company network has three DNS server: India A, India B, India C. As you can see here. Okay, this is I have taken killer 1, killer B, killer C, A, B, C, and the DNS server are configured as shown in the exhibit. It is configured like that. All computers that belong to Workbox.com have killer C. So this is Workbox.com configured as preferred DNS. All other computers are killer A. This side, this one as the preferred DNS server. Ushera from the acme.com are users. Okay, this is user from acm.com. acme.com domain are unable to connect to server that belong to killer.com. So from here, users are not able to connect to this side. You need to insert users in acme.com domain are able to resolve all killer.com queries. What should you do? So this is separate domain and this is separate domain. So you have to make sure that users from this side should be able to resolve queries this side. So create a copy of the -msdc s.india.com zone on the India C server this side, or configure conditional forwarding on India A and India B to forward Vervox.com queries to India C? No. Configure conditional forwarding on India C to forward India.com queries to India A. This is the right answer we should select here. Create a copy of Vervox.com zone and on the India.com server, and then no, this will not work. So answer should be your configure conditional forwarding on India C to forward India.com queries to India.com A. Next question, guys. India.com has a main office and 10 branch office. One main and 10 branch office. It has Active Directory forests that host a single domain. Each office has one domain controller and they are configured as Active Directory site. All sites are connected with the default link, okay, object. You have to decrease the replication latency between the domain controllers. What should you do? Decrease the cost between the connection object, or decrease the connection replication interval of all the connection objects, or decrease the replication interval for the default tip this link object, or increase the replication interval for default tip site link. So we have to decrease the replication interval for the default tip site link object. So answer will be C, guys. Now next question, India.com has India.com network consists of single Active Directory domain and 10 domain controllers are present in the domain. So one domain and 10 domain controllers. All domain controllers are Windows Server 2008 and are configured at DNS server. So all 10 domain controllers are DNS server also. You are instructed to create new Active Directory integrator zone. You have to make sure that the new zone is only replicated to 4 of your domain controller. What should you do? So it should not replicate to all the 10 domain controllers. It should be replicated to only 4. So guys, first one is execute option. What we have here, execute DNSCMD enlist directory partition from the command prompt. No, this will not work. Configure a delegation in the domain DNS zone application directory partition. No, this will not work. Configure a new delegation in the forest zone application directory partition. No, this is also not work. Run DNSCMD create directory partition from the command prompt. So this command we should run for this requirement. Guys, next question we have, India.com has Active Directory domain controller domain called India.com. Okay, two DNS servers named India A, India B. We have two domain DNS servers are configured like this. Users are unable to connect. So this is killer. You can consider as A and this is B. Here, if you see what is the problem, I will tell you. Domain users are unable to connect to internet website using India B because it is configured as a prepared DNS server. You have to enable internet name resolution for all client computer. What should you do? So delete the dot root zone from India B this side. Configure conditional forwarding on India B, or second option, update the cache dot DNS file on B. Configure conditional forwarding on A. Create a copy of the dot root zone on India A. Update the list of root hint server on India B. So guys, we should delete this dot root, this one, okay, from India B, this server. Configure conditional forwarding on India B. It should not be prepared DNS server for this requirement. Next question, India.com has an Active Directory forest. All domain controllers run Windows Server 2008 and configured as DNS server. You have an Active Directory integrated zone for India.com. You have a Unix based DNS server. You need to configure your Windows Server 2008 environment to allow zone transfer of the India.com zone to Unix based DNS server. What should you do? So first option, create a secondary zone, enable uh, secondaries, or third one is disable recursion and create a stub zone. So Guys, this is the option what we should do here. Enable wind secondaries. So this will help us to have this communication between DNS and Windows Server. Yes, next question. India.com has an Active Directory domain controller domain called es.india.com. India.com has a subsidiary company name Workworks Inc. and Workworks Inc. has an Active Directory domain controller called intranet.workworks.com. Since Workworks Inc. security policy doesn't allow the transfer of internal DNS zone data outside the Workworks network, you have to make sure that the India.com users are able to resolve names from intranet workworks.com domain. What should you do to achieve this? So first option you got, set the conditional forwarding for the internet workstation, workworks.com domain. Put internet.workworks.com in the Active Directory of India.com, or create a stub zone for the internet.workworks.com domain, or reconfigure the internet.workworks.com domain as a standard secondary zone, or none of the above. So guys, your answer should be set the conditional forwarding for the internet.workworks.com domain. Explanation you can read here. uh, you should set the conditional forwarding for the workworks.com domain. Conditional forwarding is a DNS query setting that enable a DNS server to route a request for particular name to another DNS server by specifying a name and IP addresses. Next question, guys. India.com has Active Directory domain controller called ad.india.com. There are two domain controllers on network. First one is CK1 and second one is CK2. Other administrator try to log on. Administrator try to log on the domain controller, but their login attempt failed. You have to identify the login attempt on the domain controller. What should you do? So guys, check the security tab on the domain controller computer object. No, access the event viewer. Third one is check the security data on domain controller's event viewer. Execute net sh/events command on the command prompt. None of the above. Answer should be your V. We can check this from event viewer. Next question, India.com has a single Active Directory domain called int.india.com. You have installed domain controller with DNS server role. The domain controllers run Windows Server 2008. Each computer in the domain controller and non-domain uh, members register their DNS records dynamically. You want only the domain member to register their DNS records dynamically. What should you do to configure int.india.com? So first option, configure zone transfer to name servers. Second, set the primary DNS server to register authenticated members only, or disable every one group in a dynamic object permission. Set the option secure only for dynamic updates, or none of these. So answer should be, guys, set the option secure only for updates, dynamic updates, to make sure only explanation why it is. So to make sure only the domain members are able to register their DNS records dynamically, set the option secure only for dynamic updates. This will let only the domain members to register their DNS records dynamically. Next question, guys, 20th question. India.com has instructed you to decommission domain controller that host all forest-wide operation master roles. Before you start taking down these domain controllers, you want to transfer all forest-wide operation master role to another domains. Which two roles would you transfer to achieve this object? Choose two answers. So we have to select multiple answers here. So guys, domain naming and secondary domain master, forest-wide master role, schema master role, or PDC. Which one? So domain naming for this is required, and schema master, and the rest of is not required to transfer to other domain. To transfer all forest wide, why it is like this? So to transfer all forest wide operation master role to another domain, you should transfer domain naming and schema. Why schema master? The schema master domain controller controls all updates and modify to the schema. To update the schema of the forest, you must have access to the schema master. There can be only one schema master in the whole forest. And domain naming, why? The domain naming master domain controller control the addition or removal of domain in the forest. There can be only one domain naming master in the whole forest. Next question, guys. India.com has a single active directory domain. The domain controllers run Windows Server 2003. You are instructed to upgrade all domain controllers to Windows 2008. To accomplish this task, you have to configure Active Directory environment to support multiple password policy applications. What should you do to achieve this? So create 4 Active Directory sites, execute dcpromo /adv on all domain controllers, execute dcpromo /adv on only 2 domain controllers, set the functional level of the domain to Windows Server 2008. So answer should be D. Next question, guys. India.com has Active Directory forest that host Windows Server 2003 Windows domain controllers only. You are instructed to install Windows Server 2008 controller domain controller. To do that, you need to prepare the Active Directory domain to install Windows Server 2008 domain controllers. Which of the following 2 actions you have to do? First one is raise the domain controller functional level to Windows Server 2008. Second, execute prep domain controller on the server or raise the forest level to Windows Server 2008. So first one is this we have to do, execute prep domain command on the server, and the last option, execute prep /forest command on the server. Next question, guys. India.com has 2 Active Directory forest called eb1.com and eb2.com. Both forest have domain controller that run 2008. Windows Server 2008 is running on domain functional level on eb1.com. The domain functional level of eb2.com is 2003 native mode. As per instruction, you configure an external trust between eb1.com and eb2.com. To achieve this, you need to enable the Kerberos AE option. What should you do? Encryption. So raise the functional level of eb2.com to Windows Server 2008. No, this will not work. Configure a new forest trust and enable forest wide authentication. Drop the forest level of eb1.com to Windows Server 2008, or raise the functional level of eb2.com to Windows Server 2008. So this should be your answer to achieve this. Next question, guys. India.com has an Active Directory forest with a single domain. The domain has Windows Server 2008 at its functional level. You are instructed to create a global distribution group and add users to it. After creating the group and adding users, you create share folder on Windows Server 2008 member server and place the global distribution group in domain local group that has access to a share folder. What should you do to ensure that the users can access the shared folder? First one is rename the global distribution group to universal distribution group. No. Change the forest level of Windows Server 2008. Add domain administrator to the global distribution group, or modify the group type of the global distribution group to a security group. So this option will work for this. Answer should be D. Next question, guys. India.com has a single Active Directory domain. All the domain controllers run Windows Server 2003. You install Windows Server 2008 on a server. You need to ensure that the new server is added as a domain controller in the domain. What should you do to achieve this? So first of all, we have single Active Directory and all domain controllers are Windows Server 2003, and we have installed 2008. So execute DC promo slash control prep on server, new server, run at prep slash forest prep command on domain controller, run at prep and RODC prep on new server. The next option is run DC promo, create account on domain controller. So guys, answer should be run at prep slash forest prep command on domain controller. So answer should be B. Guys, next question. India.com has a single active directory domain named ad.india.com. Windows Server 2008 is installed on all domain controller. The domain functional level and forest level are set to 2000 native mode. You have to ensure the UPN suffix for India.com is available for the user accounts. What should you do? So first one is change the primary DNS suffix. Option is the default domain controller group policy, or add a new UPN suffix to the forest. Rise the India.com domain functional level to Windows Server 2003 or Windows Server 2008. Rise the India.com forest level to Windows Server 2003 or Windows Server 2008. So the answer should be add a new UPN suffix to new forest. So guys, in this video I'm just covering this much question only. I have 110 questions. So for next questions I will be covering in next videos. So guys, if you find this video informative for you, just subscribe my channel so that you will be getting updated videos and next more questions. So if you see, I have some around 110 questions I have collected here. So if I continue in this video, I am running with the shortage of time. So guys, please subscribe and keep watching my channel, and don't forget to share this video. Till then, bye bye guys.